Heavyweight boxing fans, what's the deal? So, I cannot wait for December, the first week of December, to talk about Joshua Pulev. And then December 19th, they're talking about Wilder versus Fury, which is confirmed. I cannot wait for December, man. Looking at the WBC rankings here. And then also in a couple weeks here, you got Dillian White taking on Povetkin for the interim WBC title. The winner of that fight is set to face the winner of Tyson Fury, Deontay Wilder, first quarter early next year. All right. But this is what I want to chop it up with you guys about, man. Now I've just been on a lot of websites. There's a couple of things I want to chop it up about, but the first thing is been on a couple websites and I'm reading comments from fans on Boxing Scene in the comment section, other websites, man, and even here on YouTube, reading comments on different videos, even some of my own. Now I'm just talking as a fan, all right, just a pure consumer, a boxing fan of over 35 years. I'm not talking as these guys, managers or promoters or advisor. I'm just a fan, all right. And this comes down to the whole crowd being in attendance for these big fights. Now, for me, man, I don't care if there isn't a crowd there for Fury Wilder. I really don't care. I just hope that they don't. Now the date is set, and they're saying that a venue uh, and location still need to be set. And look, I totally understand from a business point of view, maximizing the earning of a big event, having a crowd there, ticket prices, having vendors there. I totally get the business, man. I get that part. But as a fan, not a promoter, but as a fan, I really don't care. I mean, take some heat from what the NBA is doing, the way they are, the way the NBA is setting up their games with the virtual fans on the monitors and just different little things that they're adding, different little wrinkles they're adding to, heighten the enjoyment of watching it on TV, I guess. Like I was talking to my dad the other day, shout out to my pop, man. But I was talking to my dad and he's like, son, I just can't get into the NBA games. It's just weird watching it the way they have it set up. He can do boxing. He can watch boxing the way it's been set up, like the fights they've had on ESPN, so on and so forth. And then even what Eddie Hearn is doing with Matchroom, having the fights out in his garden or whatever. But to me, I really don't care, man. And I hope that none of these fights get interrupted by we couldn't find, or since this fight should be in front of people and this fight is made for 80,000 people to be there, 50,000 people to be there, we're going to postpone it. I'm not saying that's going to happen, but I look at with this COVID thing going on, and us fans are I mean, we're salivating for big fights, man. So even if it is in set up in a non-traditional manner for big fights, just give us the big fights as fans. We want it, man. We want it. As fans, we're not promoters and managers, man. Well, I'm not. You know what I mean? I just want to see you guys fight, man. Yes, I mean, and I'm talking about the 1% of boxing, all right? I'm not talking about Joe Blow. I'm not talking about up-and-coming prospects. I mean, these are guys that are millionaires. You know what I mean? So nobody from the outside don't like nobody's hurting for really nothing, man. It's just about legacy and proving who's the best when you get up there with guys like the Furies and the AJs and the Wilders. These dudes are rich, man. You know what I mean? So when I was reading the article on Boxing Scene, I'll leave that article in the comments section and you guys can click it, read it, come to your own surmise. But even they were talking about that, at least according to the article on Boxing Scene, that Fury and Wilders, both of their sides would like some type of crowd in attendance. And I get it, you know what I mean? Because if it's here in the States and they're going to allow a crowd and the ticket prices aren't too high and they're just allowing crowds, we'll see if that even happens. Shit, maybe I'll attend this fight. I went to the first one, enjoyed myself at Staples Center, but maybe I'll go to this one as well if it's here. But if not, hey man, I'm gonna be very comfortable watching it on my TV. You know what I mean? So and I guess it's coming down to what country you're in and what type of protocol they're going to take. Because when I watched the Usyk card, Usyk had he promoted a card the other night with some Ukrainian heavyweight prospects on there that I was watching. Vlad Sarenko and those guys, they had a crowd in attendance. The crowd didn't have no mask on. They were sitting side by side. It looked like it was probably a couple hundred people. I really couldn't tell, but it was a crowd. And they were just sitting next to each other with no mask on. So I guess it's different in different countries. I have to do more research on it, but that's what I saw last weekend. All right. So crowd or no crowd in attendance, I want to see these big fights, man. You know what I mean? Like I said, maybe they can take kind of what the NBA is doing, and kind of try to set it up like that to make it look more livelier on TV and give it more of a that type of big fight atmosphere, or close to it as we possibly can, and get these fights underway. All right, so I'm not saying that they're going to get canceled or they're going to prolong them, but I'm just saying going in the future, if we they're still having a limited crowd or no crowd, you can find ways to try to jazz it up for the pay-per-view sake, and for it to look like I said, livelier on TV. But man, just give us the big fights. You know what I mean? Crowd or no crowd, man. Yes, I know AJ fights in front of a million people, 40,000 people, 50,000. Okay, but I just want to see you fight Pulev, bro. I don't really care if it's 5 people or 50,000 people. You know what I mean? And then, so that's my opinion on that. Then, I have, Dillian White and Povetkin on paper is a good matchup. I like the style. I think Dillian White, is a good body puncher. I think his jab is going to be key in this fight. He likes to throw left hooks. Povetkin like to throw left hooks. Heavy-handed fighters. I like the fight. I want to watch the scrap. But I just want these rankings to make sense, man. And this is why a lot of us we have problems with these rankings, man. Where you look here, right? Dillian White is the interim champion, right? So you would think that he would fight the next rated highest guy for his interim title, and then that guy will have a chance at the title, right? So number 1, Deontay Wilder, he's fighting Fury in the rematch. I think Usyk is doing more of his WBO thing. I think he's going to just fight Chisora and wait on his WBO shot. Okay, he's number 2. Number 3, Luis Ortiz. Luis Ortiz had his shots. He had 2 cracks at Wilder. He couldn't get it done. Although he's rated number 3, he's had his crack. Andy Ruiz. I think Ruiz and White could have been I know Ruiz lost his last fight, but shit, he's 1-1 in the last 2 fights against Anthony Joshua, right? Andy Ruiz and Dillian White, I think, is a fight that possibly could have been made before White and Povetkin, based on rankings and me as a fan wanting these damn rankings to make sense. Oscar Rivas, number 5, shit, him and Dillian White could have had a rematch as far as I'm concerned. Joseph Parker, number 6, shit. Dillian White has had some close fights, man, with Rivas. Parker, number 6, Dubois. He is getting ready to fight Eric Pfeiffer. Then they're talking about him fighting Joe Joyce afterwards. So maybe they want to just keep building him. Philippe Herkovic, number 8. Although I've heard Herkovic come out and say he was my favorite to win the 2016 games. And I predicted he'll be a world champion 6 years ago. So we'll see with Herkovic. But maybe, I know Herkovic said he'll fight anybody. But, maybe they still want to build him along. Maybe the WBC don't want to put him in that type of position yet, although they have him rated number 8. Then number 9, you got Povetkin. 10, you have Michael Hunter. Shit, Hunter and Povetkin had a draw. They might need a rematch. You know what I mean? And then why is it that Povetkin just got elevated to that fight when he had a draw with Hunter? You know what I mean? And you can argue that Hunter has looked just as good in his last couple years, man. You know what I mean? With the win over Bacole, Ustinov, Kuzman. Hunter's been doing his thing, man. Then you got Joe Joyce 11, then the rest of the top 15 here. You know what I mean? But yeah, you got Joyce 11, Chisora at 12, Charles Martin 13, F.A. Jaguar 14, Ajay Cabello at 15. All right, so just for the ranking sakes, man, I just, I want these sanctioning bodies, man. I know that we always get on these sanctioning bodies with their, sanctioning fees and their horrible rankings, and sometimes they'll have half the top 15 to be all prospects like the WBO likes to do, but I just want these rankings to make sense, man. Like I said, on paper and style-wise, and Povetkin is legit fighter, in my opinion. I think he's a legit top 10 heavyweight. I don't mind it, but I also think Andy Ruiz, at this point, to me, is probably, more on an upswing as far as having more left in the tank, in my opinion. And he's rated higher. You know what I mean? So, I don't know, man. I just want these rankings to make sense, man. I would have liked, the Dillian White versus Ruiz just for the sake of the rankings. But I guess it's just me nitpicking, man. But I just, how can a guy that's rated, or be your interim champ take on the number 10 rated guy, or the number 9 rated guy, I'm sorry, in the rankings, and then the winner of that gets the title shot? And I understand Dillian White has an interim. All he has to do is just win and just, hold on and just obtain his status, But if you're giving somebody a crack at Dillian White, why not give it to somebody that's rated higher and that's available? Doesn't that make sense per your rankings? I don't know. Y'all let me know what you think in the comment section. I'm gone.